And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Make it clear that the views expressed by our host are not considered the official stance of MBR views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Memorial Day. Yep, it's today. What better day to talk about our roots? Some of us know our roots as family or where we live. But our roots go deeper than that. Our roots go really deep in the metaphysical. They go into our root chakra. Our root chakra, that's right. And most of us as military or veterans and those who gave their life, those root chakras were damaged. How do we know? Okay, MJ, how do you know? How do you know that your root chakra is damaged or blocked? How do we know that as a soldier or military? Easy. Are you overeating? Are you disconnected from your body? Do you have physical manifestations that all of a sudden you feel sick, but they can't find anything? Do we have addictions? Are we unable to complete tasks? Do we have brain fog that we can't think forward, that is thwarting us? Do we have a tendency of survival mode? Fear? Yeah. These are all different ways to know that we need to heal our root chakra. If you have any of those, even a sense of prosperity is missing from you. Almost feeling like you shouldn't exist in this world. Our root chakra, God put us here. Father, Mother, God put us here to say that we are allowed to be. We are. And now our lesson, our life purpose, our soul purpose, and our conscious mind has to understand. Maybe we have some lessons to learn about our roots, right? I wore red glasses today because of root. We think of roots as the red, the deeps, the brown, digging into earth, digging into who we are. We're going to dig deep today. We have two special guests today. I have Terry Lynch, and I was so happy to have an interview with her. She brought to my conscious, I never mentioned the reservists. In my very first episode, Life purpose, soul purpose, those reservists. So happy for her. Then I got the big dog. I got the big Grizzz, Jordan, and he's going to round us out. So we're gonna get deep inside of here and how we're going to change these around. So I'm going to give you an example. No, I was not in the front line, but I told you, here's my story. I was TSC, desert, and my root chakra, I was assigned 11 o'clock at night to whisk me out of the base for a mobile task. There's 25 of us. And when we got where we were supposed to be going, the 25 of us, the only thing we were meant to do was roll up our sleeves. I go, excuse me. Yes, I was a full-fledged air traffic control. That, if you don't know, you have to have a class 2 physical to be in. And if you have the common cold, you're called what you call denic status. You're no longer allowed to control. You have to be a class 2 physical, like a pilot, to control. So, of course, when you have a cold, you're not going to the flight surgeon. You can't even go to the regular surgeons or doctors. You have to go to the flight surgeon. And they, by man's suggestion, no, you can't control today, or you can. So I did not go. I've had 2 or 3 days with a runny nose. I was on this. 25 of us stepped out of that plane, told us to roll up our sleeve, and there they were inoculating us. Yeah, inoculations. Heard that in 2020 enough, didn't you? So these inoculations, we were used as a test dummy. I went up. Here's my route. I said, my mother's a surgical PA. She told me when I was in the military, if you're ever sick, don't take those vaccines. I heard it. Child, 19. Frontal lobe, not there. Most soldiers, that frontal lobe, I guess that's why the military takes them. They have no fear. Because our frontal lobe isn't developed till we're 25 in women, 27 now in men. So imagine how many life lessons and survivals that we have to do. Imagine that. So what did I do? I went up and I said, ma'am, I believe to be a common cold. Should I be taking this inoculation? Here's my root chakra, folks. She said, roll up your sleeve, airman. You're either going to take it or you get an Article 15. Which one you want? Yeah. I took it. So who the hell wants an Article 15, right? Damaged reputation on the outside, damaged your reputation on here, dishonorably discharged. I mean, I could go through the litany. You know it. If you're in the military, you know what that means. For the people who are listening, not in the military, you're basically getting punished by the police. You're getting a citation. You're getting a felony. Because when you enlist and you go in, you give your life for all. Then at that point, my body started to break down real quick. I went from 142 pounds to 82 pounds within 30 days. My feet started to have neuropathies. Neuropathies are, try sitting on your feet, cross legs, and then get up after an hour and see if your feet fall asleep. That falling asleep, those needles, that pain, 24 hours a day. And it started climbing from my toes all the way up. They told me I had conversion disorder. So they put me in the psych ward. Yeah, I still find that funny. My mother, thank God for her, and Colonel Ayers, who my mother's good friends was a colonel at Andrews, said there's something wrong. They knew who I was. They knew my demeanor. They knew who I was as far as people for 18 years. They said there's something wrong with her. She's not a psych person. She's not psych. So in all this, I ended up escalating all the way up to about, I don't know if you can see, about up to here, my T10 level. Completely, 18 months, can't walk, shriveled to nothing like a skeleton. All because I said, should I be taking this at this moment with this? My gut said no. Big Daddy knew more, right? I was so angry that they didn't listen to me. I was so upset because I knew different, and they thwarted my free will. There it is. The thwarting of your free will. So how do we get over that? We figure out why. Where is it? Where is it in because I'm definitely not a Knights Templar and a warrior who stayed in. I'm a soldier. I'm the soldier who has had a life purpose, but not a soul purpose, just a life purpose. Remember the episode 1. My purpose was my brothers and sisters of arms. My brothers and sisters of arms who has to take those inoculations no matter what. And what they were doing at that time is inoculating to go to Desert Storm so that my brothers and sisters didn't have to endure whatever virus was going to kill you all. So I go in to help all. I helped all right. Because whether you know it or not, that injection that you get in the military, you get it 1 year before anybody outside world gets it. That's what I learned. Now, how do they do it today? I don't know. This was 39 years ago. So, yep. How did I flip it? What was my purpose? Where was it? Let me reground my sense of boundaries. Let me regain my sense of no pain. Let me regain my sense of no fear. So I had to dig deep. I had to dig really deep. What was the purpose of this? The purpose was so that I could have a protection against my brothers and sisters of arms who went over there, and they didn't have to get that. I flipped it. I made it positive. I made it so that I did the right thing. Yeah. Unfortunately, some of those people who took that inoculations didn't make it. I get it. I get the purpose. I do. But I think some of these life purposes people can't flip. They get down in that rabbit hole and then they get in that hamster wheel when the food's here and here's the hamster wheel. They can't get to it because they can't get the interpretation into a positive effect. Does that make sense? Do you understand? So when that happens, seek somebody helping you. Seek, and hopefully that you'll find a counselor who is both metaphysical and physical, because a lot of times it is the shadows of the dark nights. It is the unconscious mind and our unconscious soul of reincarnating all that cellular data that we have to figure. You just didn't decide to go in the military. Hell no. That was already in your past. You had to be a soldier, a militant, a warrior, a Knights Templar, or maybe you're a dark soul of the night. Who knows? Who knows? But however it was, it has to play out for life lesson. And now we flip it. Why? Because divine is so beautiful. And you have to understand that no matter what chaos, no matter what mud we go through, we can reroute always. People can't continuously taking. Here you go. This lesson, and I'm going to call her out. This is Miss Kim. There you go. You and the earth are one. Nobody gets to do that. And those taps on Memorial Day, it's not a happy day. It is it's a humbling, and it is a satisfaction to know that those people so humbled and so grateful and so lovingly gave their life for me to have my freedom today. They deserve taps. They deserve flags. They deserve it all. And all of you who went out there and fought for me today, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to get back with we're going to go to break, and then we're going to come back with Terry. And I interviewed Terry because I never did the reserves. And the reserves are a little bit different. They have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to be able to stay at home and do little tours and still stay rooted. How did she work that? It was her choice. Choices are, we always have choices. And she did it. She got that route. And I'm so proud of her. And if you're out there and you did those choices as a reservist, God bless you. Because some of us didn't get that chance. She did. I'm so proud of her. What a beautiful, beautiful person. So let's take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to have Terry and I's interview this weekend. I hope you enjoy it.
The fact that our patriotism in America is dwindling, I really wanted to start the American AF movement. Freedom is fragile, very fragile. It takes a certain level of intestinal fortitude to stand up and say and do the right thing to preserve the freedoms that so many have paid a large price for. About being in the military, and that recruiter said, it's not Biden's army, it's your army, it's his army, it's his army, it's all of our army.
American tactical. American as f***.
Hey, so welcome back. This is Terry. Terry is on MBR with Tracer Rounds. And so we're talking about rooting. And in our first episode, I talked about people who were pushed in because of being in juvenile school or being punished, and that was their sentence. Or I got people whose parents who pushed them in. And then the second one I had was people who went in ROTC or JRROTC and not living truly that facet of life from schooling and from other things that got diverted. And then, of course, we had the Ultimate Warriors. But Terry is, she's in the reserves. And she's still in the reserves. And this is awesome because I didn't mention that one. And I love this part because even though she's in the reserves, she wasn't uprooted. She didn't really have her roots being taken away from her. She more or less always had a foundation, but constantly had to be going one place or the other. So I want to hit that. Since I did hit on the reserves in episode 1, here in 3 with the root chakras, let's figure out where Terry is. So, Terry, was it hard for you when you got like put on assignment that you had to leave?
It really was because I had to consider my kids. I had to consider where they were going, how they were going to be taken care of, their sports, anything they were doing. It was always a struggle to figure out how I managed it. So.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of guilt from missing out on key highlights or points with the children?
I don't so much because they knew what I had to do and they understood it. I mean, I wanted to be there, but we always celebrated after the fact because I determined a long time ago after a divorce that it doesn't matter what day Christmas is. Christmas can be any day, or it doesn't matter what day their birthday is. Birthday can be celebrated any day. So any day that I have the kids together or I have my family together, it can be a celebration. So it doesn't really have to be centered on a specific day, although I do recognize the days and I do make sure that they get, you know, their accolades or their acknowledgments or whatever they need for that particular day. But I don't concentrate so much on the day, just on celebrating when we can.
Beautiful. So you see how Terry already acknowledged the fact that she was going to have to miss out on things, but she made a conscious, positive decision to say, doesn't matter the day, I'm still celebrating you on this day because you deserve the honor. You deserve this. And she did that beautifully without even having to flip. Can you remember any time that when you had to leave, it was just dreadful for you?
When I had to leave to go to Fort Bragg and be there for about 5 or 6 months, it was really hard for the family to have to adjust without me, and it was kind of abrupt. So I was there doing deployments and making sure people got out the door to Green Ramp and that kind of thing. So it was a really difficult time. And then coming back from it was also like getting back out of it. They didn't want to release me, so it was a struggle to get back home too. So
Yeah. So what was the one thing that maybe is still like, do you have any triggers that maybe we can show people how to flip it? from that time?
I wouldn't say I have any triggers. I would just say anytime I know that I have to go and do something, I know in my head I have to mentally prepare. I have to prepare myself. I have to prepare my kids. I have to prepare my family. I have to make arrangements. There's just so many moving parts that I always have to make sure it's an orchestrated movement to make sure everyone's taken care of. Like this morning, for instance, I had my son take my other son to the airport to go stay with his grandma while I'm here working. And I had considered that my son had never been to the airport and never knew how to get a boarding pass, never knew how to go through TSA, didn't know how to get back out of the terminal. So it's a life lesson now.
Learning lessons, right? But that's why we're here. Every one of us are here to have a learning lesson. Every one of us are here to understand that, wow, thank you. Thank you for bringing this into my awareness. And so now my awareness can say, thank you, right? It's always the gratitude of thank you for the awareness. Thank you for allowing me to understand. And now there's more of a balance. And Terry, you do really well. I mean, there's some people, I can't tell you I was that organized. In my youth in the military, it was strictly like I had to do what I had to do. I had a life purpose. And I couldn't, this outside couldn't exist. I didn't have any kids at the time. I didn't have a family. So that was a little bit easier. And the people who have relationships or have families, it becomes very difficult. It really becomes moving parts. And thank goodness, as a reserve, you were able to stay within not so much time, like some of these beautiful veterans and military who are still out there that are years they haven't seen family. And I mean, I can imagine in 5 months, did you feel like you were like disassociated a little bit, or you're coming back to go, what is this?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did family support for 9 months and 20 days on a deployment my unit had to Afghanistan. And so I went through it with all the family members. You know, they didn't understand why a soldier would kind of disassociate themselves from their families. And I told them they have to focus on the mission, because if they don't, then they can't perform the mission.
Their life.
Yeah, and they would put somebody else at risk if they weren't focused on what they're doing. So they have to disassociate themselves from their family.
Yep.
And then when they come back, it's the thing of reintegrating back with the family. And it's hard because they jumped off at one point and the world's still spinning, and then they have to jump back on. So, you know, things have happened in that year that they were deployed, or the 18 months or whatever the time frame was. They have to jump back into that, and they've gone on without them, and they are just trying to catch back up. So yeah, I found that too. I mean, I wasn't gone as long as some of these people that are deployed, so many soldiers, airmen, Marines, corpsmen, whatever. But it's, you know, it's all still a process of getting back to your life and fitting back into it, because they made decisions without you because they had to. They didn't have a choice. They had to just go on and make decisions and keep living while they waited for you to come home.
Now, when you came home, did you have the understanding of they just move forward, or did you have, or were you upset because things weren't done how you would have had them done?
So in basic training, when I was there for the 4 months I was in training, the family got a snake while I was gone, and I don't like snakes. And so I said, okay, that was a decision that was made outside of me, and that snake needs to go. But other than that, I felt like, you know, they did what they had to do in order to keep the family going and to keep their the household, you know, maintaining its rhythm. And so I really didn't have any problem with any of that except for the snake.
Poor snakes.
Poor snake.
They have a bad reputation.
They do. But I can appreciate who they are and what they are, but I don't want them that close. So, but yeah, other than that,
quick story. I'm trying to sell my house.
Yeah.
And my husband is in the Python program. So, of course, you know, I am his assistant, and we go python hunting quite a bit for snakes. And Gray's Taxidermy asked my husband for a 10-foot snake to taxidermy so they could sell the molds and stuff like that. And then, of course, in doing that, they gave us a snake. Well, we've had this snake, and we're trying to sell our house. So we had it on the kitchen counter for the longest time, and people would freak out. And then I was like, all right, let me just put it in the bed. They're like, they're Satan worshipers. I'm like, a snake? A taxidermy snake. And our whole house is taxidermy. It's like we have deer and turkey and bobcat. I mean, our whole house is taxidermy. You know, love one animal, love them all, right? But anyway, I find it funny, the correlation with snakes. And actually in healing, do you know what's so funny? When you actually see like a doctor's lapel pin, they're snakes. It's a snake medicine because our kundalini is snake. So it is the snake medicine that actually heals us. And so when people say they don't like snakes, I'm like, oh, we need to get in touch with that kundalini of yours. We need to tap into that little kundalini because you'll really end up loving snakes. You'll love everything and see the awareness of the beauty. But anyway,
they do have.
I get it.
They do, but they're a little unnerving for me.
Yes. No, I get it. So that which is unnerving, what do? Anybody answer that? Yep, you got it. If you said we dig deeper and figure out where that comes from. Exactly. Good for you guys. You're getting it. I love it. Terry, so I love that you did that. I love how you planned things in advance because I got to tell you, I don't know that I know of any of my friends that I went in with that did all that planning. I mean, we were still young. We were 18, 19. We weren't mother figures. We didn't have that. So, and I can only imagine out of my egoic mind, because there were people I know in the military who had children, who had, and I watched them on a daily basis, but, we weren't at war. We just watched them back and forth, going from their house or whatever. But there were times where we had tasks and they would miss a child's event at school. And I can see the depression, or I could see that upsetting them. And so you saying that and knowing what a beautiful twist that Terry just put, and I love that. I'm going to use it. I'm going to steal it from her. That it doesn't matter the day because the day is when we celebrate the day. Love that. That is awesome. And see how she just did a positive switch to anything that could have been uprooting or whatever. Now, as far as her family, she did well. That would be curious to see, how did the family handle that? How did the family with her uprooting, how did they feel? Did they live in fear? Did they live with anxiety? Did they live in caution? How did they feel? Do you know?
Well, I think they, they missed me and they felt that loss of having that parent.
Nurture.
Yeah. But, they were able to talk to me on the phone and were able to connect that way. And so, it wasn't the time when we did all the Zooms and we did all the virtual FaceTimes and, the go-to meetings and all that. But still with text message and phone calls, I think, that bridged the distance and bridged the gap. And then if they ever were like feeling sad or lonely, they would call and we would talk.
That's awesome. See, there's so many different ways to have a conscious, positive outlook on everything, no matter if we see it glim, if we see it not quite the way everybody wants to see those beautiful roses lined up, but you can always find that positive. And she did it. And I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled to be able to show people that flip. And when we do that flip, or we have that conscious positive thinking, everything's okay, right? You just feel more settled. You feel more at ease. And that's what I love. That's the point that we're trying to make. That is where it's at, guys. Right here. Take it from her. If you don't take it from me, take it from her, because she still has her beautiful children. She still has her family. She went through, how long have you been serving?
Next week will be 33 years.
Dang spanky. 33 years. What a warrior. What a divine Knight Templar. And she's right here by my side. Do I feel glorious? I do. And I feel like an honoring. And Monday, here we are, Memorial Day. We're in Memorial Day. I know we're recording this early, but today is Memorial Day, and I love that. So, like you said, it doesn't matter the actual day. It matters our day. And this is our day to honor and respect with very much of a conscious, positive way of thinking in life to get us through any event that is traumatic. And thank you. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you
so much. We'll be back right after this. Here comes Big Grizzz. Hey, so welcome back.
dream too big, wanting to grow up way too quick, searching for spotlights since I was 6. Hello, my name is Dream Too Big. Hello, my name is way too loud. My voice can cut right through the crowd. Got made fun of for it, but who's laughing now? Hello, my name is way too loud. I know I've had my moments and I've had heartaches. God is making miracles out of my mistakes. You can say I won't make it, and I can tell you that I don't really care. 'Cause hello, my name is going somewhere. Go far. Lost all my words in a mason jar. Locked eyes with a stranger at the end of the bar. Hello, my name is You'll Go Far. Well, hello, my name is One More Try. I put too much stock in bad advice, 'cause anything worth leaving is worth loving. Getting knocked down. You're never gonna leave the ground. You can tell us all about it when you come back around. Hello, my name is Getting Knocked Down. Hello, my name is Stand Back Up. Keep moving even when it gets rough.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Here we are, Jordan, Big Grizzz. Where'd that name come from?
I was actually given to me in the military, and it's kind of just stuck around with me for 20 plus years.
Is there a story behind it?
Grizzly Adams.
It's kind of. I'll accept that one.
Well, that's where it came from. I mean, my last name's Adams, so everybody started calling me Grizzly, and then it turned into Grizzz, and it turned into Big Grizzz, and then it just kind of stuck with me.
Is that when you had the beard? Because I know you probably couldn't have that beard in the military.
No, it definitely wasn't. It was definitely just being made fun of because of my last name. I mean, they did everything from calling me Gomez to Gomez
Well,
Adams,
golly, Sarge.
you know, yeah, and Fester. I mean, it kind of all just it was all stuff I've heard growing up,
Yeah.
as a kid. But
Yeah,
I mean, Grizzz kind of just stuck.
I like it. It's better than popcorn. That was mine. So hey, it's better. It's so much better. So okay, so we're talking about how we got uplifted. Can I know how you went into the military? How you got in?
So I say I had a troubled teenage years. I mean, I was a teenager in the early 90s, mid 90s. So we kind of, I mean, you're going to understand. I mean, it was, you're definitely, Gen X troubled kids didn't really care. And I had made some horrible mistakes and had people looking to actually try and get rid of me. And I moved, and I think I was 16 at the time. And I moved to the eastern side of the state to get away. And it kept kind of building, my name being out there. And I knew I wanted to do something, but the fastest way for me to get out of the state that I live in now was to enlist. And it was the fastest way to get away from, I would say, I guess, my fun teenage years. I mean, it was definitely troubled, but it was fun when I was a kid.
Right.
And I got out of the state and stayed away for 5 years. And then when I re-enlisted, I came back to Fort Lewis, and all the trouble I had was gone.
Imagine how we can grow up really quick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say then your roots weren't really, it was really Father, Mother, God pushing you to find a better way, right?
I mean, I don't know. I just knew I had to get away because I knew what could happen to me was bad.
Right.
So I knew I had to get away from it, and
you had a
I
gut
just
feeling.
had to be away. Yeah.
Right. A gut soul feeling.
Mhm.
I have to make a change. And you listened. Yeah. So how did when you moved away, which is awesome because it doesn't seem like you really got too uprooted. So that going in was really, our troubles didn't start there because you knew it was the best life purpose for you.
At that time, yes.
At that time. Right. So now, can you tell us one of the most biggest uprooting that you had to go through of not your will, but you had to do it?
I would say that about my first appointment.
Yeah.
I mean, that changes your outlook on everything. I mean, I was 18 years old. Well, at the time when we found out we were deploying, I was 20. I actually turned 21 in Iraq. So that was the biggest change in something, and more or less going into the unknown that I guess would be considered uprooting.
The fear, right? The fear of what you just did.
I wouldn't even say it was fear.
Okay.
It's the fact I was leaving my family, and I knew I was going to another country, and I knew we were going to war, and I knew we were the initial push. So we knew all that, and so our mind was right for that, but it was I'm leaving my family. I'm going across the pond, and I don't know if I'm going to make it back. So I guess that would be considered fear, but I don't fear anything. I mean, there's only one thing that I fear, and that's God. I mean, it is what it is. That's that's the highest power. That's the one true fear that, if you have faith and you're religious, that should be, because I mean, that's that fear that should be there. I'm not afraid of anything.
It's the fear of the unknown, because we don't fear God. We have faith that God is our creator, our maker, right?
Yeah, I think I was more scared and excited and nervous, kind of all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I get to do what I was trained to do, but I'm leaving my family. I don't know if I'm going to come home. So it was kind of like a mixture of a lot of emotions and feelings at that time. And it was a hard one to grasp at such a young age.
We just said it in the beginning. Our frontal lobes are not even developed, and decisions there are very hard to rationalize. And then we get stuck on those rationalizations after we're like, you knew what you're signing in for. No, some of the things you signed in for, you had no idea. I didn't know that I was going to be made demanding to be a test dummy, right? I didn't know that. And you went in, I don't know what you went in for, but whatever you went in for, did you know that you could possibly be on the front line?
Well, honestly, anybody that enlists in the military should know and should have that feeling.
Absolutely.
I mean,
but you're too young.
Well, there's that, but I mean, you sign a piece of paper that says you're going to defend this country.
Absolutely.
Foreign or domestic, you're going to defend our people.
Defend God, mankind, and my country. Absolutely.
Yes. So anybody that signs that dotted line should have that, know that that's a possibility. If it's going to happen, you don't know. I knew when I enlisted that there is a possibility, especially coming in right after Desert Storm. And knowing that there is that possibility, but you don't want to believe it, but it is a possibility. You never know. I mean, it's just like soldiers now that are enlisting. There's a chance they're going to end up in the Middle East, or they're going to end up in Ukraine, or they're going to end up in Russia. You don't know when you enlist, but that feeling's there.
Right. So is there anything that I can help you decipher of a flip? Like how can we turn something that was dreadful into a positive, or have you already been through that to do that?
So I've talked about this on my show. Anybody that's listening, I mean, I grew up in a non-denominational Christian church. That's how I was raised. I enlisted and my faith went away. I mean, it's this sad story, but it's the truth. My faith went away. It's hard to believe and have faith in something when you know you're going to war and that there is a possibility you can hurt people. I mean, it's hard to have that and you get out of that mind frame. Some people don't, some people do. I came back. I struggled really hard for a while. My one and only brother had passed away in 2012, not even 6 months after I got out of the military. And I mean, at that point, I drank a lot. I disappeared from my family. I didn't know how to handle any of it. And then I started facing those issues. I'm not going to say I faced it all, but I started facing it. And I came back around my family and I started working and living my life with my kids. And in 2021, I had multiple strokes at the same time from a TBI I had sustained in Iraq. And it took most of my vision. And about 8 months, I would say, after that happened, I met my wife. And she took me to her church, and my life has changed ever since that day.
Good.
And I've gotten better at keeping myself calm. I've put my whole heart into my faith, and believe it or not, having that faith and being brought back into it has actually brought me down from where I was at. It's actually calmed me.
Yeah. Well, faith is the number one mind power portal. I mean, I as a spiritualist and a reverend of light, we look at the mind power portal centers. We have 12 of them in our physical, and in our realm of chakras, there's 144. So when we can heal that which was broken as a life lesson, it gives us a higher power of calmness. It gives us a higher power of understanding, and it gives us a higher frequency to know that where we are is a life lesson to learn. But never, the only thing that ever scared me, and I think it was just because you didn't use the right words, that you feared God. Don't ever fear anybody who's listening. Father, Mother, God. It is the highest power that we could actually have, and it raises our vibration all the time. And when we have that fear, and I can understand what Grizzz went through, because he wasn't necessarily like, yeah, he said he would do it, but he wasn't convinced that, yes, he wanted to do it. Does that make sense? And that's all of us. I mean, yeah, you're right. You put your name on that line, you're going to go. If you're getting called, you're going to go. And I mean, that's why we had strategical red flags out in the desert and practice all of this stuff. We practiced and practiced and practiced so that when we go, we're dead on the money.
And you know, there's two mentalities in the military. There's the warrior mentality, and then there's the I just want to do my job and get out mentality.
That's the soldier.
And go to school. So there is those two. When I enlisted, I originally enlisted as a mechanic. I was a 63 Bravo. And I found out after our first deployment with 4th ID, we really didn't do our job. We were in the invasion. We really weren't mechanics. We were on foot patrols and we were on wheeled patrols. And if something broke, we would fix it. But we had such a lack of people that we did everything else. My second deployment, I was an MET team. I didn't even do mechanics. I was an elite escort service or security service for any of our HVTs or our high value targets. I protected them. We drove them around. We did all that. So there is the two mindsets, and I was stuck in that warrior mentality, and then getting out of that mentality is very, very hard when you come back into the civilian life.
So it's not the first time, if you probably ever heard it from my other shows, if you're in the military and you're going this and you are in that, it is a cellular data memory from past life. And that means to me that you had to be a beautiful warrior, a Knights Templar, if you don't mind me saying that. And I appreciate every single thing that you've done. And I know they leave scars. And then we were talking about the song before that. Yeah, you can take the uniform off, but he can still smell the gunpowder in his nose. He can still taste it. I think his name was Mitch. And that's it. It is. These are memories, but we have to flip these memories to always make them positive. And you're doing such a great job. I'm very proud to know a lot of you that have gone through it, and it's traumatic. It is traumatic, and it is one of these things that you have to make sure that at all times now you feel safe, right? I feel safe. It's okay. I'm not there. And honor it, heal it, love it, and let it go. And the letting go part is really a very hard thing for all of us. Whoever goes through any type of trauma event, not just, the occasion of war, and then knowing that you might be taking somebody's life, and I mean, you're Christian. So the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not kill. So where's that faith at that point? Right.
It's very hard when you're in. And there's one song that's been playing that we've been playing this weekend, and it's you were taught how to put the uniform on, but you can't ever take it off. That's
the song. Yeah. Yep. That's the song.
It's very true because even now, 15 years after I've been out, I'm still protective. I'm going to protect my family. I mean,
yes.
And anybody around me. It is what it is. That mentality don't go nowhere.
I was asked to be a guest on someone's blog talk in the metaphysicals, right? The spiritual world and the shaman's world. And they said, how do you own a metaphysical shop being in the military? I said, that sounds almost like a judgment or an ego. I said, why not me? Why not me? Right? So judgment and egos don't belong. And I think it's judgment and egos of ourself and our self-love and judgment and egos of others that make us not be able to flip, because there are those people out there who are like, killing's evil, killing's bad. Right. But you're saying that, and if you believe that in any type of realm of Christianity or any realm of Father, Mother, God, and any of the divine saints or angels, Archangel Michael carries a sword. What do you think all the archangels do? That's you, Big Grizzz. That's the Knights Templars. Those archangels, they are the swords to balance. We're not there just to kill. We're there to balance. We're there because you are trying to thwart my root chakra of my freedom and the freedom of my country and my family who I love. Don't be thwarting it. So who gives the ego of that man, that high power who has money or put in power, to say, okay, now there's war. Let's flip it. Because anybody who's listening who was beautifully on that front line and has that same mentality that thou shalt not kill, no, that is for those people who are that high ego, that high judgment, to come back and say, no, we can't. We can't think that way. And we're not going to think that way. We're going to think that we are here to balance and protect those. And that's exactly what you did, buddy. That's exactly what you did. I'm so flippin' happy for you, because that's what you did. And I'll call you my freaking divine archangel from here on out, because that's a struggle. And I get it. Yeah, I do get it. I know we have to go to commercial. I hope you can stick around and we can have some more conversations. But we're going to go to commercial and then we'll be back with you all. Thanks.
Attention, all troops. Are you ready to stay connected with the latest news, entertainment, and information tailored for our armed services? Look no further than MBR.
Here at MBR, we're more than just a radio station. We're a lifeline for those who served from the front lines to the home front. We're here to keep you informed, entertained, and connected to your fellow veterans.
With our dedicated team of broadcasters, we bring exclusive interviews with military leaders, insights into the latest strategies and technologies, and uplifting stories of bravery and sacrifice.
But that's not all. MBR is a nonprofit organization, meaning that every dollar you donate goes directly towards supporting our troops and their families, whether it's providing care packages, funding, scholarships, or offering mental health resources. Your support makes a difference.
With that, H-Train, can you tell me a little bit about how MBR got started?
Well, in 2005, Jim Butler created it so that he could keep contacts with all of his pals over in Iraq. And then when 2018 came, he decided that it was time for him to retire. He was going to close up the station. And because we've had so many former DJs since 2005, I mean, it was pretty inspiring. We have at least 5 veterans in every single state, at least. And, you know, it just brings us closer together. It creates a family, and it creates a family that we lost when we got back from Iraq. And
Remind you that every show is manned by a veteran or a first responder. That's amazing. I love what MBR is doing here. I love being a DJ here as well. Talk to people who have been through situations similar to yours. You're not alone. That's what we do here on MBR.
Yep. And it's nice because if you're not having a radio day and you're just having a bad day,
or you don't have a face for radio, we just want to remind you that every show is manned by a veteran or a first responder. So if you've ever had a dog tag, you could be possibly on the show or create your own, as well as military dependents. Together, we'll stay strong. We stay informed. We stay connected. So visit our website and download our app today, MBR.
MBR, serving those who served while giving veterans a voice.
First heard of MBR through my classmate Cedric. We were going to school at Colorado Media School, and we'd worked on some projects there together, including making a podcast. And he told me he was interning here at the station and that they would give us a shot to put our show on the air.
But it's a really rewarding feeling just to come back and learn radio, learn a trade for myself, and help people out at the same time.
Brandon Stokely here, and I want to encourage every single one of y'all to keep grinding, keep fighting, keep practicing, keep getting those reps in, because that's what's important, right? Keep building, laying down that foundation, and keep working at it, keep practicing. No matter what the results you see right now, it doesn't matter what's going on right now. Look towards the future, and that's what it's all about. So keep working hard, keep practicing, keep getting those reps, and that's what's most important right now. So keep up the good work. Best of luck.
All right. Well, that's what we're hearing, right? Keep pushing through, keep bearing down. So back to our roots. So sometimes when we are faced with trauma of event or a fear, right, we get into other things. Like I said in the beginning, addictions. You know, we get into not eating well. We get into not taking care of ourselves. And then we get into this big circular pattern. So when you got home, Grizzz, how was it? Did you find you were very were you able to reroute? Were you just associated?
No, I felt very I'm not gonna say disliked, but I felt like a black sheep and an outcast.
Yeah.
I mean, you go from being gone for a year and a half to you come back in, and at the time I was married, and my oldest daughter was born during my deployment. Like, she was born on Veterans Day. Imagine that.
Right.
During my deployment.
That's not a coincidence. You know that, right? She'll realize in the future that there is a purpose for that.
Yeah. And she's actually engaged right now, so I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
but you don't. I'm not gonna say like you don't feel welcome, but you just feel very distant. Um, I missed I missed it. I missed being with my guys. I mean, at that point, all our guys came home, but we still had brothers and sisters over there fighting, and I wasn't there. And that's a very,
Yeah. Where's your buddy?
it's a shock and awe effect. You get home and you don't have to worry about all that. It was very hard, and it took me a very long time to get used to being back home because everything's different.
Did you practice? Did anybody because I know when you come back off the line, we go through debriefs and we go through counselings and we have these different things. But in our metaphysical chakras, when we come home, we can try dancing, earthing, gardening. This all reconnects our roots, believe it or not. Wearing red, anything that you can do to figure out, okay, I need to reroute back in. I need to let go of things because there is no way anybody goes through life without a life path given from Father, Mother, God, whatever you want to call God. Father, Mother, God allowed you to do this for whatever reason and honored you to do this. I don't believe in devils, demons, and everything else. I do believe in lower vibrations. I do believe that we are here to learn. And those people who come against us are the catalysts for us to learn these lessons. And when we come back from something like a Templar that you just did to come back, you're honored. The angels were always honored. The Templars are always honored. So that honoring is, how can I help? How can I assist? And it is horrible because I know I wasn't at war. I told you my story. And I felt very distant from a lot of people being in that desert. I couldn't understand their way of thinking. I couldn't understand their logic. I couldn't understand a lot of things because I felt like I didn't fit in.
Well, you got to come to a different mindset.
Exactly.
You got to do a whole change in how everything happens when you go.
You have to become aware. That's the word.
You got maybe, but you go from you're at home, you're worried about your family, and that's about it. You know, you're safe in this and that, and then you land in Kuwait or in Anaconda or anything like that. Your whole mindset changes because at that point, you know, you're not safe anymore. You don't know what could happen.
You're survival mode, right?
Yeah, and you're worried about your brothers and sisters that you're with.
Yeah.
And then you're worried about coming home. And then I don't know how it is now, but in the early 2000s, in my deployments, when I came home, we didn't have anything. Yeah. We got off the plane and they said, don't drive for 24 hours. That's what we were told. They didn't put us through any classes. They didn't try to help us come out of the mindset we were in. We had to do it all on our own. And I don't know how it is now, but that's extremely hard.
It is.
Being in your young 20s, mid 20s, and these guys are coming back and they have no rules over. We had no rules over there. It was us or them. And then you come back and you got to worry about everybody. You can't be like that. You can't drive down the center of the road. You can't go wherever you want. You can't take off driving through grassland or desert. You can't do any of that. You got to follow laws and you got to do all this, which for a year straight or a year and a half, you don't have that. And then all of a sudden you come back and you see your family's moved on, not moved on from you, but they've moved on in their life. And then you start realizing you missed all that. You missed it.
But did you miss it? So to flip that, they moved on like you moved on. You had a choice. They had a choice. So their choice was to honor you and hold you in their heart. And they had to move in with life. As you as that soldier, that beautiful angel, right? You went to protect that of which they did. So flip that pattern, flip it.
I did, but I still miss
have that freedom.
I still miss my daughter's first steps. I missed my daughter's first words. I missed my ex moving my kids into an apartment while I was gone. I missed her buying me a truck while I was gone. You miss all that. You're not a part of it. And you got to know and you got to trust that everything is right at home because you don't have a say in anything. I missed a lot. I missed my son's birth. I missed my son's first steps. I missed all of that. And that's what I mean by missing stuff. Not that like life's moved on or this or you're missing all that, but I missed very important parts that I should of my life that I should have been around.
Okay,
And
we
I
don't
can't
use
get
the
that
word
back.
should. Shouldn't be used. Should is a demand that you're putting on yourself, sweetheart. Should. You're going to be shoulding all over yourself soon. Don't use the word should, because you did your life's purpose. You did what you were set out to do, that choice. And we have that understanding deep within our beautiful soul and heart that yes, they take their first steps. Yes, they take their first breaths. Yes, they do move. And you gave them that freedom. So flip it off of yourself. I understand that we want to hang up on those things, but that's not to be hung up on, because you did such an angelic freaking thing that I want you to feel honor for yourself. There's no doubt. There's no coincidence. Your daughter was born on Veterans Day to honor you, sir. She was born to honor you. Flip that pattern, because you are too beautiful of a soul not to do that.
That was something I struggled with a lot, is because I know I miss this stuff.
Yeah.
I know it was my choice. I chose to sign that paper.
Yep.
I chose to put my life in somebody else's hands and do what they asked. But in the end, there is stuff, monumental stuff in my life that I missed, and I can't get that back.
Right.
And that's,
we're not to have it back. We're not to have that back.
It's a hard one to contemplate. I mean, it's been years. I mean, my daughter's going to be 21, my son's going to be 19. So,
yep.
I mean, it's been a very long time, but me knowing in myself as a dad that I missed it,
You didn't miss it. Stop that. You didn't miss it. I'm going to bring into your head, you didn't miss nothing. You were right where you were supposed to be by the way that your life path was. And those beautiful children and those people who honored you and kept moving forward to live that life that you were providing for them, please flip that pattern. That's our roots. And I know and I would love to talk more, but I got the cues that we need to go. We're going to flip it. Grizzz, I love how you've healed. I love what you stand for. I love that you have that voice to give it to everybody. And I love that you still have that faith in your heart and in your soul. And that to me is amazing. So
it's all a work in progress. I mean,
always.
But we gotta reach the younger generation, and even my generation, the people in the military, somehow we got to reach them to get them out of their own mind funk.
Yeah, absolutely. So, folks, you've heard different dynamics, and I know we're rounding down here, and we need to get going. But I'm gonna give you some things, right? So, for us to be able to help our roots, and I know it's gonna sound silly, but truly, take those shoes off, step in the grass, sway your hips. Literally dance to music in the grass barefooted. You will never be so connected and rerouted. Honor them and be happy that what you did and what you had accomplished, even though you may have missed out or even though you may not have thought about it, do yourself a favor, smile and say, I was there because they got to do that. And I had to stop that so they weren't harmed and they could live that life and they didn't have to distort their life. I did it for them by the blessed grace of the archangels and the Knights Templars and who I am as a soldier and a warrior. They got to do it. And I am so proud of each and every one of you. Today is Memorial Day. It's not a happy day, but it's a grateful day. And it's an honoring day. And it is a humbling day. So if you know any veteran out there, or you know that they've crossed, go to that grave today. Say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity. Thank you for giving all, because I didn't. But I was there. And we still have scars. We still have wounds. But we're learning to twist out of them, and we're learning to love us because we did the most angelic job that we could on the life purpose that we were brought here by Father, Mother, God to bring. It's not a religious class. It's flipping the pattern of the world of having a conscious, positive thinking. So get out there, be alive, eat well, reclaim that body, dance, ground yourself, and just take little timeouts for yourself. Go in the ocean, rebaptize yourself. Go in the ocean. Let the water cleanse you. It's always, always there. Always there. Love your family. Hold on to them and kiss them. Big Grizzz, Terry, I can't say enough. Jewel, I know you're out and about. Thank you so much for honoring me and allowing me to be here with these beautiful people. So
thank you for having me on.
I will see you all next Monday, 10 o'clock. Thank you so much.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting MBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at MBRadio.us. That's MikeBravoRadio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.